This is Ladies Track. My name is Peace Isaac Yeroku. I welcome you to today's episode. Women are noted for achieving, going all out to achieve whatever it is that they set their heart to do. And you bear witness, like anyone said, if a woman is passionate about something, she does everything and she goes all out to achieve her desire. And whatever responsibility you commit into the hands of women, you'll be sure the responsibility will be carried out to the letter. That is why I have chosen to celebrate women on this program. So I welcome you to join me as I celebrate my guest today. My guest today is an achiever. She is passionate about youth empowerment and youth development. She has a passion. I describe her as a very compassionate woman on the things that she has set out to do. My guest is Mrs. Buzopat. Mrs. Buzopat is described as an ambassador of youth empowerment. She has won several awards in this regard. She is the founder of Majestic Youth Empowerment Initiative. This is an NGO with the vision to see youth focus on values of hard work, integrity, and discipline, with a mission to mold youth through constructive exercise and talent development. My guest today is Mrs. Chibuzo J.C. Patrick. You're welcome. Thanks for being our guest today on this track.
Thank you. The honor is mine.
Now, we want to take a background knowledge of who Chibuzo Patrick is. Who is Chibuzo Patrick?
Chibuzo Patrick is a trailblazer. I would say Chibuzo is a very humble woman. Chibuzo went to school. She read theater arts. She read mass communication. She did postgraduate diploma in management. She did masters in business administration. And she had more than 15 different certificates in the domain of public relations and others. Chibuzo Patrick is a passionate woman.
Passionate about what?
Chibuzo Patrick is passionate about youth empowerment, passionate to see that children are not fully destroyed in our future. This country that we're in has no respect for both parents, children, everybody else. And a nation that has no respect for its youth is actually heading for it. It's what is a child that grows to become a girl. It's a girl that grows to become a lady. A lady becomes a wife becomes a mother, and a mother becomes a grandmother. The world is revolved by that. So what you do to a child, and I have come to understand that most times we as an adult forgive easily what our friends did to us than what you do to a child they remember till they die. I don't know if anybody has noticed it. A child will tell you vividly what that happened to them when they were 1, 2, 3, 4. But as an adult, they could laugh over anything like that. So it's very, very essential that we should be careful what we do to a child, because most times it alters their life completely. This warning is not just to us, to the parents. Be careful what you allow your children see. Be careful what you allow them hear. It stays in them. A fighting parents will not know what they've done in the life of their children. A home that quarrels may not know the disadvantage, what they shape. There are children here that we have in our lives today, in our society, that doesn't know that there's anything like love, because they were shown the negative aspect of life. I keep saying that there are multiple acts that form a character in every human being. Then it depends on the one that is positive and negative. But if you allow the positive one dominate, that's why you see them say, oh, this child is a very respectful child. That same child may be a thief. That's a negative part. That same child may be a prostitute. That same child may be a liar. But the positive one dominates. And then the same way, as was like, the negative one dominates in the life of a child. That child will become, oh, why? Don't show me how I deal with this person. This person is an armed robber. That same person that is an armed robber could be a very neat person, could be somebody who could work wires for you in it, could be somebody who could lead you when you're in trouble, could give you their last. So we are in a very serious situation in this life. But everything ties to what we do to the children we have, because it becomes the youth that will help shape this nation.
So what you're saying in essence is that, let's say your passion is driven towards the children, the youth, making them, like I said in my intro, youths who are focused, who recognize hard work, children that will go to the youth. Now, does it, because you've been talking about children, does that explain why you decided to do something for children, or what your NGO takes care of children with Down syndrome?
Yes, my NGO is, my Buzopat is a public relations consultant to Down Syndrome Foundation. And Down Syndrome Foundation is not just a foundation like this youth empowerment that we do. And I emphasize on children because they grow to become youth. You know, if you catch them young, it alters, it changes every other thing in the face of God. So I started with, my foundation runs for the youth, passionate for the youth, reorientates the youth, tries to make their lives better, believes that one life you touch positively, you touch 50 in disguise. My foundation believes that we may have youth who may not want to be may go through the right way, but there are millions of them who would have been better if they have seen one or two persons who will say what you're doing is not right. That is why I talk about children first and I talk about youth secondly. But coming to Down Syndrome Foundation, Down syndrome is not a disease like people think it is. Down syndrome is a chromosome different, an extra chromosome in the life of a child. Just like a mother could get pregnant and embrace and give birth to twins, the same way a woman would get pregnant, and instead of having the 46 chromosome in the life of a child, 23 from the father, 23 from the mother, once there's an extra chromosome, that baby is down for life. And when we mean down for life, we mean there's no cure for Down syndrome. The only thing we try to do for them is early intervention. Try to manage them. And then the other illnesses and ailments that follow, that come into their life because they're down, that's what people try to do. And really, when I talk to the world, I try to look for a person that has a soul. For whoever is going to listen to us today, I know somebody is hearing and somebody is listening and somebody will be willing to change their life after talking with us. Look out for what you will do in the life of just one person. You may not change the world, but for that person you touch, I tell you, history will remember you. Posterity will judge you. And that life, you will be happy that somebody like you has come across.
Alright, before I ask my next question, let's have touching a life, you know, and
sorry?
Affecting lives.
Make it more, she's more familiar.
Touching on lives, affecting lives. Now talking about Down syndrome, what does your entry do for Down syndrome?
Buzopat is a PR consultant. Buzopat for
you said that.
Yes,
before.
that's
and you consult for Down syndrome foundation.
Consult and not the NGO. The NGO for youth empowerment is Buzopatrick's passion.
Okay.
Baby. Buzopat, the public relation aspect of Buzopatrick's life, consults for Down syndrome because Buzopat as a person is passionate. Buzopatrick's humanitarian aspect of our life sees to it that these things have to be done.
Okay, now, the question should have been, how do you consult for them? What do you do for them? Alright, so what do you do for Down Syndrome Foundation?
What I do for Down Syndrome Foundation is...
And in your work with them, what have you discovered? These are typical questions. What have been your findings? And why is it that your soul cries out to them?
Down syndrome children. Why my soul cries out for them is because in the course of working, consulting for them, I have come to see the suffering that these children go through, the hands of their parents. So many parents lock these children up and they don't see air and light. They didn't ask to be given birth to. They didn't ask to come to the world. They brought them to the world. And for everything God has done, He is not a completionist. He gives perfect gifts. And you that have given birth to a child with Down syndrome have no right to kill, to treat that child like that. When we talk about that condition, because we use the opportunity to beg them, don't kill them, bring them to where somebody else will care for them. Somebody else will reorient them. Somebody else will teach them. What parents do to them, it breaks your heart. If you get close to them, you will see them as imbeciles. People see them as monsters. People see them as people that they will run away from. But these children are lovable, they are trainable, they are teachable, they are beautiful children with good sensitive sense of belonging. But nobody gives them that chance. What they do, they discard them. And if you get close to these children, the first thing that will appeal to you is their need to be loved. They beg to be loved. Auntie, do you love me? Auntie, do you love me? And they're so sensitive. They can pick who does not like them from a distance. They run from you, see them quiet. It breaks your heart. And you can imagine if you could feel like that, then do you know that there's one parent that we're looking for where to dump the child? They called me on phone one day, one was dumped inside the gutter here in Festa. Different categories of them. I gave an example. I've always talked about it. A policewoman that I met on the road was actually, she stopped me because she wanted to check my particulars. But along the line, I was taking Nigerians to the public relations to Down syndrome. And by the time she heard me describing, she said, "Madam, please, what's Down syndrome?" I explained. She started screaming. So I am not a witch after all. Then it now happened that she gave birth to a Down syndrome child. The husband drove her out, the community labeled her a witch, and she was driven out of the place. And she believed that she was actually a witch until the day she met me and understood that it was a child of Down syndrome, an extra chromosome that she gave birth to. That's very unfair. What society do to these children is very unfair and unacceptable. We need to give them a chance because they belong to us, and if you get close to them, you love them. That's why as if I cry, that's why as if I scream, that's why as if I go out of my way to want to do something for these children. Because I go to radio stations to talk for them, and I met me and Emeka Smith to start a comedy infusion in order to bring all the celebrities together, for people to raise money, for people to send these children with heart problems to India. Mrs. Rose Nodi, she gave a child, she had a child with Down syndrome. It was the discrimination, the agonizing moment of her life, the things she went through in the hands of people that made her feel, I am educated, I am civilized, I am learning, yet I could go through this. What about women without a voice? What about people who can't believe what will be happening to them? She formed this foundation, raised it and started speaking, creating awareness, screaming, come. There's so many beautiful things about these children. Give them a chance. If you don't want, bring them to the foundation. These children need to grow with the likes of them. If a Down syndrome child is with another Down syndrome child, you will see their understanding, you see the way they flow. But you cannot carry a Down syndrome child because you think you have money and put in a school you're paying 50,000 naira, 1 million naira. It will not make any difference because they will cajole that child, they will taunt that child, they will discriminate that child, they will make that child's self-worth disappear. And in other words, what you get is aggression. Most people label the Down syndrome children as if they're very aggressive, but their aggression comes from rejection. It comes from, they could use their aggression because they have extra They are hyperactive. What they need is eat, dance. They are everly happy. They could dance from morning till night if there's music. Give them food, and then you see them playing. Auntie, I'm here. Auntie, will you marry me? Auntie, it's just that, and that's why society don't need to throw them out because of their need to be loved. They can be raped easily. They can be deceived easily. Any fake sympathy can ruin their lives. That's why. So if parents could really guide them, keep them, and the best love that can be given to the children must come from the parents. It must come from, because if you go to some of their homes, they treat these ones as if they don't exist and pamper the rest. Then you've already divided, and if that one has opportunity, you could use bottle on any of them because they're already enemies. They're no longer related because you didn't give them any room for that child to belong to that family. It's a terrible thing. There was one I saw. That child was basically behaving as if he has not seen light in his life. Galloping, as in you be ashamed at what parents will do. So many examples we could cite here, but that is not what we're saying. It's a lesson for people. Nobody asks for Down syndrome child to come, and it's not by age. It's not as if you're getting to menopause. It has nothing to do with it. I've seen a 90-year-old lady give birth to her first child Down syndrome, and the rest are normal children. I've seen people who started with giving birth to normal children and then end up having a Down syndrome child. You cannot question God. The same way people die and you can't say God, and that's just it. But for everything He gives you, there's a reason. Maybe if Mrs. Rose Murphy does not have a Down syndrome child, nobody would have known who she is. There are so many people today that is even their Down syndrome child that have made them known. So many people know them and celebrate them everywhere because they have time to attend to the child they have given birth to, that God sanction. And because if you feel you can't, He will never give you a load that's bigger than you.
These are the things that you have, I could sense your passion for these children. And I must say it's quite challenging. I can imagine what a parent or a mother who gave birth to a Down syndrome child would be facing. It's really quite challenging. But then, like you said, we can listen God. So how do you? I want you to tell us. You said you bring artists, comedians, like Comedy Infusion, to raise funds for Down syndrome. Funds to take them to India, except for what?
Yes, no many of them have they go for heart surgery. They have affiliation with an Indian hospital where they go to for heart surgery. But the essence of bringing, there are so many things other people do for Down syndrome people. So many people, so many passionate people come and say, what can I do? Some people did mountain climbing in order to raise funds. Some people did street dancing. So many things. But what Comedy Infusion does in our own way is getting all the AY, Emeka Smith, all of them, they all come. Most of them are people you pay millions to see, you understand, to handle your microphone, but they gather for nothing. Because of the 1,000 naira ticket that people will buy for these children. It's really noble.
Now, you talked about taking them to India for surgery and all of that. And some of them haven't had problems to find out or figure out what the relationship is between the heart and the extra chromosome that make a Down syndrome. What's the relationship between?
Okay, like I always explain, the heart, we, as much as we are not medical doctors, for the medical doctors who are waiting for terminologies or ways to use it and their hair, in my own way, and like the heart actually, heartbeat is the first thing we notice when a woman is pregnant. And again, the heartbeat still the formation of as before a baby formed properly. But then most times the heart doesn't close up again. When you have multiple holes in the heart, means the heart didn't gel together after all. And it is a different problem. Down syndrome can be cured, yes. They don't go to India for them to heal or do any miracle for the Down, no. But they go to do the heart surgery so that the child can be healthy and live healthy.
Is it all of them that have?
No, not. Some of them have leukemia, some have eye problems, some have, like I said about the twins, that their tear ducts broken, as in extreme happiness makes you cry, extreme sorrow makes you cry, but their tear duct is just 24 hours, 48 hours open, so they drop tears. Different things they have. Yes, they are Down syndrome. Identical beautiful children that are Down syndrome, and the tear duct is basically open. They've gone to India for surgery, thank God for their back and all that. So many children like that. Different, some of them their nose, some of them nasal, some of them slant faces. Different things happen to them. Different